Today, I want to share with you 10 things that you can get rid of today that you won't even miss. And over time, we get so used to seeing the things in our home that we often fail to recognize cluttered spaces for what they really are. And as a result, we'll hold on to things that are providing us with zero use or value without even recognizing it. So today, I want to help identify some often overlooked areas where we store really meaningless clutter in our homes so we can take action to simplify our lives. And let me warn you right now, the items that we're going to be talking about today really provide very little value to us, but even still, your head may try to convince you that you'll miss the item or that you actually use and get value from it. But I promise you, if you take action and remove the item from your life, once it's gone, you won't even remember it. With that in mind though, I want to get started with this. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button below and let's dive right in. Okay, the first thing that you can get rid of today and never even miss is shoes that pinch your toes or give you blisters. Let's just be honest with this one. No one enjoys feeling like they need to hobble around to get from place to place simply because their shoes don't fit properly. I don't care how cheap they were or how nice they look. If the shoes you're wearing aren't comfortable, it's frustrating and honestly, it's just an annoying experience. What likely is the case is that your most comfortable shoes are the ones that you wear the most often, and we naturally steer away from the shoes that are causing us discomfort. And so rather than letting those uncomfortable shoes hide in a corner of your closet to be worn a handful of times a year and then subsequently to cause you pain, it's better just to get rid of any shoes that don't fit you properly. And then the second thing you can get rid of, and this one is really just a no-brainer, is any plastic or paper grocery bags that you might have tucked away in a corner of a closet or of your kitchen. And this is really something that we should get in the habit of taking care of on a routine basis. And yet many of us will let these bags pile up for months and months until we just have this monstrosity of bags in our cupboards that we then need to deal with. You can use in-store recycling to recycle your plastic bags, and for paper bags, you can usually put them in your curbside recycling. But then once you've gotten those bags out of your life, my suggestion is to switch to reusable bags that you can use multiple times whenever you go to the grocery store. Then on top of that, try setting a reminder in your phone for maybe once every few weeks or a month to take care of any incidental bags that might have slipped into your life whenever you forgot a reusable bag. And then number 3 is old electronics. And this is a really broad category, but it can include anything from old cell phones to cords that you don't actually know what electronic they belong to anymore because you've had them for so long. Maybe it's old DVD or VHS players. For many of us, there's a cycle of when we upgrade to a new electronic, rather than selling or recycling the previous version that we had, we just hold on to it. And it's easy to understand why this happens. Electronics are often some of the most expensive items in our household, and because we spent a lot of money on them, it can be hard to let go. But especially when it comes to things like electronics that are designed to serve a functional purpose, if you're not using it, it's just taking up space. And so rather than letting them collect dust in some dark corner of your closet, take a few minutes and figure out where you can sell, donate, or recycle them. Next though, number 4 is unused personal care products. If you have any bottles in your bathroom containing a product that you tried but that didn't work for you, why do you still have it? And trust me, I'm asking myself this question here too because I've definitely done this before. The fact of the matter is, not every single product we try is going to work for our hair type or our skin type. It would be nice if that was the reality we live in, but it's just not. And so it's okay if you try a product and it doesn't work for you to let go of it and to pass it on. But if the reason you're not using something is because it didn't work for you, it's not like someday it's magically going to start working again. Instead, what it's doing is taking up space in your bathroom cupboards, and over time it's going to expire. And so try passing it on, but at the end of the day, if you can't find someone who wants the product that you have, then just dispose of it and throw it in the garbage. And I know that can feel like a bit of a waste, but again, if it didn't work for you, you're not using it, and you're not going to use it in the future, then there's no point in keeping it. So get rid of those products that don't work for you. It's fine, it happens, and just move on. All right, the number 5 is cleaning products that you never use. If you've owned a vacuum for over a year and during that time you've never touched the little cleaning attachments that come with it, chances are you never will. And the same thing goes for those super niche cleaning sprays and polishes and even just scrub brushes that you maybe used once and didn't enjoy. I think we can often tend to make cleaning a whole lot more complicated than it really is. At the end of the day, we don't need that much to be able to clean our homes and to clean them well. So with cleaning supplies, we want to keep what we use regularly and the products that we enjoy using and just get rid of the excess. The number 6 is books that you won't read or books that you've read and don't plan to reread. And sometimes we can over-romanticize the idea of books and reading and turn it into something that it isn't. At the end of the day, books serve a singular purpose, and that's to be read. So if you don't plan on reading a book, or maybe you did read it, you enjoyed the experience, but you don't plan on reading it again, it's best just to pass it on to someone else who can enjoy and get value from it. And I love doing this, especially if you have a group of friends that's into reading, because you can then basically share books with each other and form your own little book club where you're reading and enjoying all of the same books. And so not only is this a really easy way to get rid of the excess, but it's also a fun way to create a shared experience and something that can bring you and your friends closer together. Next, number 7 is broken things. And in my experience, people tend to do this for 2 main reasons. Number 1, sometimes we're just lazy and we don't want to take the time or the effort to appropriately dispose of an item, and so we just kind of leave it there and then forget about it. But then the other reason, and this one is so common, is that we'll have aspirations of fixing something but then never get around to it. With the first one, there is kind of an element where we just need to get over ourselves and put in the time to dispose of an item properly, whether that's through selling, recycling, donating, or anything like that. But then for the second one, we need to set some boundaries for ourselves. Because it's easy to say, someday I'll sew that button back on the shirt or fix the loose handle on that pot. But the problem is, someday never comes. And so we really need to be specific and to set guidelines for ourselves. So what I usually like to do is set a 30-day time limit of, during this time I want to repair the item, and if it isn't fixed by the end of those 30 days, then I'm going to write it off as a loss and declutter it. And that way I'm giving myself a specific time frame to fix an item and not letting broken things just to stay in my life indefinitely. And number 8 is a quick one, but that's just socks without a match. There is no point in keeping socks that don't have a match. So if you have a few single socks floating about your undergarments drawers, isolate them and set them aside for 30 days. Again, we want to give ourselves a time frame during which time we might find that sock. But then after that time, if you still haven't found its match, it's time just to write it off as a loss and get rid of those single socks. All right, number 9 is aspirational sports equipment. And we need to ask ourselves the questions, do I really use the sports equipment I have? When was the last time that I used it? Thinking about using something or wanting to use something is different than actually using it. And so when it comes to the sporting equipment that we own, we need to be realistic with ourselves and honest about how much we actually use it. And the thing is, most of us will use some sporting equipment regularly, but we don't use all of it. Maybe you love skiing and camping, and while you go skiing every single year, you haven't been camping in 5+ years. In a situation like that, you'd want to keep all of the equipment that you use regularly, your ski gear, and to get rid of, to sell, or to donate all of your camping equipment. And so there's no universal answer of keep this and get rid of this, but instead just look at all of the things you own, and of that, try to identify what you actually use and just keep that. And then the final thing that you can declutter today is your backup option. And a lot of us own multiples of a specific article of clothing. Maybe that's a black tank, a white shirt, a denim jacket, whatever it is. Most likely you prefer and use one way more than the other. So in that situation where you have multiple of a very similar item, just keep the one that you love and use and get rid of the backup that's most likely only being worn rarely, if at all, and is probably just collecting dust in your closet. And the main area that I like to apply this idea of decluttering your backup is clothing, but keep in mind this can apply in other areas of your home as well. If you have 2 really similar cooking pans and use one all the time and the other rarely, get rid of the one that isn't being frequently used. The same thing goes for utensils and tools. It really is a principle that you can apply in any area of your house where you have duplicates. You want to keep only the item that's providing you with the most value. All right, well, those are 10 things that you can get rid of today that you will never miss. And what we've been talking about today is really the easy stuff, the no-brainer, easy to get rid of items. And it's good to start with things like that because it can help us to get the ball rolling and to gain motivation and traction in our decluttering. But if you want to dig deeper and to really declutter and to simplify your life once and for all, I definitely recommend checking out my ebook, The Simple Guide to Decluttering Your Home. It's a quick, easy to read ebook that's going to help you walk through the decluttering process step by step. Plus, it goes in depth on topics like how to maintain a decluttered space and how to dispose of the items that you're decluttering in a responsible way. And I've really designed it to be kind of a one-stop shop for decluttering and for simplifying your life. So if you're interested in checking that out, I'll have all of the information about it linked up for you in the description box below. But now I want to know, of these 10 things that we've talked about decluttering today, are you guilty of having any of these in your house? If you are, I'd love to hear what it is and perhaps if you're planning on decluttering it, so be sure to comment that down below. And if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below for more simple and intentional living videos coming at you twice a week. And then finally, don't forget that if you're looking for daily inspiration and updates, you can always follow me on Instagram. I'm at ashlynne.eaton on there. And I'm also now on TikTok. I just created a TikTok the other day. I'm at Ashlynne Eaton there. And I'll have both of those linked in the description box below for you if you want to check those out. But that's everything for today's video. Hope you enjoyed coming along for some decluttering motivation and inspiration. I hope you have an amazing day though, and I'll see you in the next one.